I get to say thank you, my Habiby, because my name is Habiby, which gives me the liberty to call anybody I want Habiby. And Zaid is definitely, for all of us, our Habiby. Thank you, Zaid. TED is built on a concept, the simplest concept of an idea or ideas worth spreading. And I thought, as we think about entrepreneurship and star entrepreneurs, if maybe in the spirit of an idea worth spreading, if there might not be a word worth spreading. What if there is one word that is so awesome, so transformative? What if there's a word that explains the real energy source of great entrepreneurs? That would be a word worth spreading. So my entire speech today to you is about one word. I want you, I hope, tonight to remember this one word. And that word is just one syllable. It is the word all. A-L-L. All. It would turn out that this word launches nations, launches some of the greatest entrepreneurs and stories and scientists and explorers you have ever known. The simple word all transforms everything. At the center of this word all, which you will come to see how these scientists and entrepreneurs have used it, it redefines what is possible, and most importantly, it crushes boundaries. Let me tell you the history of how entrepreneurs have used the word all, and you'll see exactly what I mean, that this is the one word that explains how to move countries and companies and people forward. So Henry Ford, a car for all people. At that time, it was an absolute revolution. It's like saying today, a private jet for all people. Ingvar Kamprad, IKEA, furniture for all people. At the time that Ingvar invented IKEA, it was after a devastating war. People had no money. Furniture was a very expensive commodity handed down from parent to child to child to child. It was big, it was heavy, it was expensive, and people had just come back from war and they had no money. Furniture for all people. Coco Chanel, comfortable, elegant clothing for all women. It was a revolution in how women would enter the workforce, no longer in corsets, no longer in very expensive fabrics. It was an inexpensive fabric that made a woman professional and elegant. Steve Jobs, an Apple computer on every child's desk. That was the initial notion of the apple. The apple is a symbol of school. An Apple computer on every child's desk. A revolution in thinking at the time when very few schools had ever even seen a computer. The Google boys, to organize all the world's information. Simply awesome. Perhaps the greatest revolution of all. Mark Zuckerberg, to connect all people in new ways. A revolution we don't even begin to understand what it means. We're just at the start of that revolution. The Gates Foundation, to eliminate for all time certain diseases. Not to eliminate it for certain people in certain places, to eliminate certain diseases for all time. All. Aramex, from here, to deliver to all addresses. Now, those of us know who live in the Middle East, many of us, offices and so on, don't even have addresses. To deliver to all addresses and to deliver during times of war when the big companies like FedEx feared to tread, Aramex went on the ground to every address, all addresses. And also from Jordan, a new company you may not know, Keenwash. All cars washed without water. All cars In this world where water is the white oil of the world, all cars washed without water. Mind-blowing. Finan Lodge, down the road, so to speak, all natural. And for those of you who have been there, it's an overwhelming all-natural experience unless you're ready for it. No electricity. No convenience foods. Everything all natural. These are transformations. The word all organized these people to reach for things that were absolutely ludicrous at the time that they thought about it. A computer on every child's desk when schools didn't have computers, all. Ingvar Kamprad, no one knew about inexpensive, high-style furniture. It hadn't been invented yet. They invented completely new platforms, completely new horizons that raise all of us up. The great entrepreneurs of this world think about the word all, because it is a system high above where we are today. It unleashes a tidal wave of creativity. But it's not just entrepreneurs who are organized. Their soul is organized around this word all. It's adventurers, it's scientists. Think of Ibn Battuta, who in 1325 would set out from Morocco as a very young man of 21 to cover not a few Islamic countries, or not even most Islamic countries. He would set out for the biggest travel adventure the world had ever seen. He was going to go to all Islamic countries, and in 1325, that was an enormous territory. He would travel for more than 30 years. He would set the world record for travel of 120,000 kilometers by foot to see the world of knowledge, of insight, of spirituality, all. And it's not just travelers, and it's not just entrepreneurs, it's great leaders. Mahatma Gandhi would say, all Indians are born free. And he would say this humbly to the British Empire. And the British Empire tried to break that one word, all. They would say, well, how about a few of you? But not all of you. How about just those of you who are very well educated? Not all of you. How about just the Hindus, not the Muslims? And he said, all Indians are born free. And that one word would bring down the British Empire. All. And Nelson Mandela would go on to lead a nation of all. Not a black nation, not a white nation, not a mixed nation, a nation of all. And this would be a man who had been incarcerated by whites for 27 years in the most humiliating manner, including the deprivation of only having one visitor and one letter every 6 months. And he would rise to lead a nation of all South Africans. And he would stand proudly for the whites as much as for the blacks. They never broke him either. It would be a nation of all. And then in the United States, the Declaration of Independence starts with words that would launch a nation. All men are created equal. When they wrote this, they knew at the time men were not created equal. They knew very much in the United States, which was not quite the United States at that point, that there were many unequal. But they understood that this was the aspiration of greatness, that one day all men would be created equal. And they understood that with those precious words of all, they would build a nation. They would raise a new way of thinking and being that the world had ever seen. All men are created equal, and to this day, it is a nation that works on those words. It has not achieved that. When you put the word all out, you set on the greatest course of discovery, maybe never to reach it. but to always go as high as you possibly can. It is a perpetual course. All men are created equal. And then on January 25th, they came to Tahrir Square, not to say some of us are Egyptians, and you're not really the type of Egyptian we want, or just, we're not interested in you. We are all Egyptians. And that one unifying concept would bring down one of the strongest governments in the world. We are all Egyptians. And then they poured into the square, Muslims, Christians, and the world watched and rallied with them and said, we are all Egyptians too. That one word makes nations, breaks nations, makes companies that change everything. That one word. And it's often by ordinary people, but they have an extraordinary capacity to live that word all, and to never, even Nelson Mandela or others, to say some. It's all. All children will have a computer. We will organize all information. It's awesome, it's audacious, it's thrilling. And so my own organization that I'm part of is called the AllWorld Network. I just need a prop for one moment. Luke, can you bring me the prop? And so, thank you. We set out on our own global expedition. It's my son, by the way. Thank you. And my colleagues and I had studied entrepreneurship for many, many years. And we knew there were thousands of great entrepreneurs in the Middle East and Africa and Asia and all these places. We knew they were there. But you would just read about one of them or two of them or three of them. We knew, in the spirit of one of our prior speakers, there had to be a better way. And so we created something called the AllWorld Network, symbolized by this, our word all, to find and scale all the growth entrepreneurs of the emerging world by 2015. Absolutely audacious. To find and scale all the growth entrepreneurs of the emerging world, all of this, by 2015. But we knew if we could do that, if everybody knew all the growth entrepreneurs of the Middle East, Africa, Asia, and beyond, we would unleash a tidal wave of capital flowing to developing countries. We would unleash a tidal wave of innovation. In fact, we could move the GDP of countries if we could find and scale all the growth entrepreneurs of the emerging world. So we go into meetings, and they will say, everybody does, they say, well, we looked at your website, quite a mission statement you have, all. And they sort of laugh at us, and we say, you bet, all, all, all. And then usually, you sidebar conversation, those two girls from Boston, what do they know? We know the power of the word all, and we're not going to stop. Maybe we'll get 60% of the way to all, maybe 70. But we also know that there's a whole new world. What if we created the AllWorld Network, the name of our organization, and we partnered with the great organizations of Jordan and of Libya and of South Africa to find all the great entrepreneurs? And what if we ranked and credentialed them based on their extraordinary performance? Not what the rest of the world says, nice, you have sweet little entrepreneurs. No, we have top, hot entrepreneurs, and we rank them that way. And what if we produce something called the Arabia Fast Growth 500, a ranking of the 500 fastest growing private hot emerging companies in the Middle East, and we published it all over the world? I know what will happen 1 hour later. The phone is going to start ringing for all these companies. Money will flow in, opportunities, and the world will see the Middle East completely differently, not as a chronic basket case, but a place germinating all these terrific entrepreneurs. So, and what if they never have to go public, actually? What if, in fact, going to public is sort of old school? What if when you publish all over Facebook and Twitter and the internet and so forth, you get capital, you don't ever have to go public? What if it's all changing? What if it's maybe just all changing? So we are trying to create the new platform of information to find and scale all the growth entrepreneurs of the emerging world. And it's a thrilling adventure. Jordan will host the first ever 500, the Arabia Fast Growth 500, right here in the Dead Sea in November. All. So the first 500, and then we'll follow the Asia 500, the Africa 500, and the Eurasia 500, and I think there are a few other 500s I'm forgetting. But right here in 6 months, we're going to start with the first 500. Now, starting on the all adventure, whether you're an explorer like Ibn Battuta, whether you're a country changer, whether you're an entrepreneur, is a very hard thing to do. But actually, you can start right now. So let me give you an example of how one starts. So there was a little boy, who you've been introduced to, who last summer was going to run what they call a fun run. And as a very wise parent, I said, now look, it's only 1 kilometer, pace yourself, start slow, speed up, take it easy. Little boy lines up with about 40 people, 1 kilometer, and he takes off at a massive speed, and I think, he did not listen. You start slow, you build speed, and then you accelerate to the finish. And he ran fast, and he started passing 10 people, and 20 people, and 30, and he never, ever, ever slowed down. And he crossed the finish line and fell over. And the only people ahead of him were children twice his age, who were about 12 years old. This 6-year-old, from the moment he started until he finished, gave everything, and then he fell over. And so sometimes you start with this notion of all, and it's only 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, I knew who that child was. Didn't take 20 years. Actually, 2 minutes showed me what living all was. And he showed everybody else who watched in complete awe. And he showed himself who he is. So I challenge you, when the moment comes, I don't know when that moment comes for you or what it is, that you will take that one word, that one syllable, and start and finish with everything you have. You will put it on the line, whatever it is. And in that moment, you will rise to a whole new level, and the world will see truly who you are. So my message to you is that this is the all world. The world is opening up. Technology has obliterated boundaries. This is the all time. We can do extraordinary all things in whatever industry we pick. And I think we today, as being invited to TEDxDeadSea, are asked to rise to our all level. So I will close by saying, let your light shine so that all who see you know who you are. Thank you.